jeepney, and adhesion. Our winner is Zach Bergman.
Jeepney, Jeepney.
Congratulations to all of our students as well as educators, of course, that help prepare students and parents and families. Dr. Maddox and I teased each other and thought we would probably have been out the first round of the words that, based on the words that were read. So again, congratulations. So we'll move forward with amending and or adopting the agenda. I'll open up the floor for any motions.
Motion to adopt. Second.
Okay. Floor is open for any additional discussion. Okay. All in favor of adopting the agenda as is? Okay. Thank you. Motion carried. Okay, we will move forward with our recognition of speakers. And just as a reminder, I'm going to read the parameters for our speakers. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes. At this point, any remarks must be concluded. No speaker will indulge in personal attacks while speaking. All comments are to be addressed directly to the Board of Education. To protect the privacy of our students, speakers shall refrain from identifying specific students by name. Personal concerns may be addressed in writing to the superintendent or president of the Board of Education. Written copies of comments may also be provided to the board. Our first speaker is Ms. Honey Farmer.
Good evening. I'm Mrs. Farmer, and I stand here once more to ask you why is Dr. Means on administrative leave. I have researched administrative leave policies from various institutions, cities, towns, and states. I have even spoken to HR directors. Normally, a person placed on administrative leave is usually placed on leave for some type of an investigation will take place. So I'm puzzled. I still need to know the reason why Dr. Means is on administrative leave. Since you have not given me an answer, I'll ask you. Was Dr. Means placed on administrative leave because he chose to put students' needs above all others, especially the marginalized students? I focus on the students because I heard a very disturbing conversation on radio. This conversation took place between an Athens Clarke County Commissioner and an Athens Clarke County School Board educator. They came to the agreement that this school district should be more than just about the students. So that concerned me. The slogans that have been floating around, students first, and let's focus on the students, seem to have irritated them. Paraphrasing a bit, but that was the essence of the conversation. So I ask you also, what is the purpose of a school district? If it's not about the students, can you tell me what a school district is for? You still haven't told me why Dr. Means is on administrative leave. So I can assume that it's for strict personal and vindictive reasons. I want you to know that Clarke County School District or any district will not be what it ought to be until you be what you ought to be. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Candias?
Good evening, everybody. I think I can make 3 minutes. Let me sort of comment on what Mrs. Farmer was coming on, and I will comment on that. I do ask for an explanation. I'm a taxpayer. I pay quite considerable taxes in this community. For my home, my rental property, and my office. And I think that the way you were spending money in regards to administrative leave and 2 superintendents, I demand public explanation as to why you are definitely paying someone. And how do you know, how long do you plan to maintain this administrative leave on my tax bill? I need an answer. I definitely need an answer in regard to that. It can't go 6 months, it can't go 4 months, no investigation lasts that long. So I would like for this board to agree at some point in time when they come forward, each member come forward to give us a public explanation as to why Dr. Mean is on administrative leave, because I do not know. And my tax dollars would like to know. In addition to second conversation right quickly, I have heard many comments about one of our board members, recently newly elected board member. I say, this is what I suggest. But that's something that he has done. Let's be the first supposed to be federal election committee. Federal election committee see about funds, federal funds, and so forth. It does not lie with the board. It doesn't lie with the community. If someone got to complain about how federal funds have been handled in election, that's where it needs to be. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ed Hill?
Dr. Thomas, let me share the same question about what is going on. We're paying Dr. Means his full salary not to do his work. And I urge you once again to return him to that work, his important work. Work that has been successful, as he reported to us about 2.5 months ago. He needs to be on the job doing that. And it's affecting programs across the board. I learned last week, one of my favorite programs in this place that helps children read is not going to get the cooperation from the school system to be able to apply for a grant that had been promised to them, simply because there's too much difficulty going on for some vague reason. This is angry. This is wasteful. This is crazy. And so I ask you not only to share what is really going on with the public and with the citizens, but to change it, to bring Dr. Means back on the job. The cost, I understand, of this Atlanta law firm that has been retained is for the first chair lawyer to be paid $360 an hour. the second chair lawyer $320 an hour, and the paralegal $110 an hour. So that's every hour, close to $800 is being spent. There's something wrong there. You don't need that group of people, particularly when it costs the program I'm talking about. 30 kids for 1 year could have books to help them read for 1 hour that's being spent on that. So I want to keep track of how this money is being spent, because if you have the kind of money to throw away like this, I think we should cover every child in the Dolly Park Imagination Library program. Speaking of lawyers, I'm now offering a $250 reward for anybody that can help identify who is behind the anonymous complaint that was filed with the Ethics Commission. It's time that those people were outed and stand up for themselves. We don't know that. I've asked members of the school board. They professed not to know. And it's time that we found out. It was a bogus complaint to begin with, pretending to have a PhD, plagiarism, and bringing the education company Ovid to do work. All of them proved bogus. We should find out who these people are. I offer a reward of $250 to find out. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Brenda Bellinger?
Members of the school board, I just have some concerns. I don't know where our district is going. The lack of communication that I see bothers me to my heart. I know we don't have the crowd we would normally have because of the weather. We've had some humdingers of storms this morning. But when you look across and see what you see here, you have administrators and teachers, and you have a lot of retired administrators and teachers. And that's wisdom. And this wisdom has encouraged some of you along your walk. So to say that, you are elderly and this, that, and the other, I find a bit disrespectful. Now, I will say this, that growing old is a privilege denied many. So it's good. My pastor always has a saying, this is a day that kings and queens desire to see but die without a sight. So I think we should do all we can while we can. I would ask that you sometimes just stroll through the schools in your particular districts or come as a board to a school and just see what's going on. Not to judge, but just to see what's going on. You would be surprised. How would you handle certain situations? Now, I'm at Barnett Shows Elementary School. I'm the school secretary and bookkeeper, but I also find myself serving as grandma, great-grandma, advisor, chastiser, and consoler. Some children never are told they're doing a good job. Some parents cannot be located. Some people change their phone numbers and you cannot find them. Some people don't believe anything, that the school board actually has rules that are set in place when you don't pick your child up on time, or that you cannot see all of these things. Go and don't be in a, I'm up here, you're down here. We're in this together. It takes all of us to come to a good conclusion for everybody, so that everybody thrives, and everybody does a good job, but everybody does the best they can. Everybody needs to be encouraged. Everybody needs to be pulled aside sometimes if you have a concern and talk to that person, person to person. Not up here, but as friend to friend. Just sometimes so people will understand where you're coming from and where we're coming from. I too want to know what happened to Dr. Means. I asked a question not long ago. How many superintendents in this Clarke County School District have ever completed their contract? And nobody has ever been able to tell me that. So please, as you go along doing what you do, think about other people who are in this with you.
Thank you. Ms. Janet Frick, I'm sorry.
Thank you, everyone. I'm a CCSD parent, and I'm here to speak regarding the situation we have with our newly appointed member of the District 2, of the board from District 2. I do not know if he is an active member of the board yet, but I see his nameplate, so I assume so. We learned this week through very careful and meticulous reporting from the Cedar Shoals blueprints, as well as additional reporting from other local media, that Mr. Stevens does not have a high school diploma, which is not a requirement for the board, but he did stand at this podium and state that he was a member of the Cedar Shoals class of 2014. We know that he had an active campaign for Congress until the day that he was appointed to this board, despite not being old enough to run for Congress. We know that he still has an active fundraising account for that congressional run. This is an ActBlue account, which I just checked 1 minute ago, and it is still active. Donations can still be made to that account. We know that he reported raising $100,000 in the Athens mayoral race, despite never actually filing paperwork to run. We know that he did not file the legally required paperwork to run for Congress and to raise money, and also that he was not eligible to run for Congress. Today, as of 30 minutes ago, Cedar Blueprints has posted a new news story, which includes the following important bits of information. First of all, at least one, so on his $100,000 claim, the paperwork for mayor, there are numerous people listed who are said to have given him $2,600. Now, I don't know about you. I make a pretty good salary in Athens. I couldn't afford to write a check for $2,600 to someone. He has multiple people listed. The journalists at Cedar Shoals contacted at least one of the people mentioned on there, and that person denied having given any money to his campaign. So there may be some issues of falsification of that document. And also germane to this board, according to the open records request sent by the Cedar Shoals journalists, he did not have a complete application for school board. He did not have any letters of support that were submitted for him. That is on you all to address, but the rest is on Mr. Stevens. I hope that you all are getting advice from GSBA on what to do about these very serious ethical violations.
Thank you. Ms. Mary P. Baggett.
Mary P. Baggett 12@gmail.com. I want to read just a couple of things for you tonight. February the 6th. On February the 6th, 1865, Dr. Martin Robinson Delaney arrived in Washington, D.C. to arrange a meeting with the President Abraham Lincoln. 3 days later, he sat with the President and presented his case. Dr. Delaney urged the Commander-in-Chief to allow African-American soldiers to obtain high positions in the Union Army through the creation of more all-black regiments led by black officers. This happened. I can't read all this in my time to go. But it says, no living man is better able to write the history of the race to whom it has been a constant study. And this is what Frederick Douglass said about Dr. Martin Robinson Delaney. He said that Mr. Delaney, he claims the foundation of manhood. Upon this point, Mr. Frederick Douglass once willingly remarked, "Delaney stands so straight that he leans a little backwards." And I remember that Dr. King said that if you don't bend over, no one can walk on your back. And so I'm here and I'm standing straight. I would love to stand so straight that I would lean backwards slightly so no one would walk on my back. And as I remember, Pastor Archibald Killian, he said a soldier, according to the armed services, is not completely dressed if he doesn't have his belt on. I do wear a belt. I'm a soldier. I'm a soldier in the army of the Lord. I deserve to be a soldier if I choose to be so. And I wear a belt because I was taught as a young girl that when you wear a belt, it causes you to remember that you have to be careful as to your posture. And I want to read something else for you. This is a poem written by A and Z, but this part is from the youth who was here on January 16th. So I won't read all the poem, I'm going to read the part from the youth. It says, Dr. King loved his community. Because of it, he gave them the truth. So in that spirit, here's a bit of the truth from one of the youth who was here that night. Adults, it's time to set a good example. Time to be living proof to our legislators, administrators, and most importantly, our educators. We have one of the lowest ranked school districts, and it doesn't make sense to fire a place on administrative leave, the one hired to fix it. Believe it or not, some kids pay attention in civics and follow politics. Just like Dr. King, we have dreams and plans, yet the Board of Education holds our future in their hands. Truth, it seems like a good education is unreachable. If our teachers aren't teachable and code of ethics are so easily reachable without disguise, and this I witnessed with my own eyes, but we talk of unity in the community. In conclusion, give honor and thanks to Dr. King for his dream and courage that ended his life. Racism, injustice, inequality, poverty still exists, so we must continue to fight. Dr. Means came here with the best intentions and the courage to do what's right, and for that we should thank him for shining the light. Be involved, get involved, go vote early.
Thank you. You will take your seat.
I was robbed of something here. For the record, the attorney Pruitt,
Moving forward.
and President Gant allowed it to continue.
We will continue to move forward.
I was robbed, and I will not be robbed of what I need to say tonight.
Thank you for your feedback.
Please read.
If you would have a
Read
seat.
a book entitled The Oath by Frank Peretta, and it talks about
We are now at our informational item. We're now at our informational items.
Read that.
The very first item is Area 5.1, and that is our early Head Start policy, or early Head Start report, I should say, that's been shared with us, the meeting minutes. And I don't know if there are if you all had any questions or comments or anything like that. About that report. Okay. Moving forward with our SPLOS report. Are there any comments or additional notes or questions that you may have had from reading that report, or any additional things you needed to add, Dr. Thomas?
The only addition that I would add is that on February 18th, we will have that second Westlaw Community Input meeting as part of this class. And Mr. Gilbert will be here along with Mr. Fisher and architects at that time. That's the 18th.
Okay. And correct me, that is the same meeting that Mr. Davis and Mrs. Davis are representatives of the board, or am I actually mixing?
I can, last year, when Dr. Yeager came on board, she became part of the committee, because that's what Mr. Bybee, that was his position. And then Juana was also serving last year. Tawana, I believe, I think Dr. Yeager is still planning to serve, and then Dr. Maddox said that, she would be unable to. So I offered to do that with the consent of this board.
Okay.
My
I think,
understanding that we have two board members who are part of that committee, so this is my district. I was a part of that.
yeah, I think I may be getting them, yeah, I may be getting them confused then.
Just to clarify that, because all of us.
The regulars, okay.
We're talking about the COC?
No,
Oh, I'm sorry. What were we talking about?
Dr. Thomas, I think, mentioned that there would be another West Broad, did I hear that wrong?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's correct. So as part of the SLOSS and the work that Mr. Gilbert has been doing with that, they will have that second feedback meeting on the 18th. But I don't know, is there a committee?
There were two people appointed, Greg Davis volunteered and I volunteered as a representative for District 3.
And you all have attended those meetings?
I attended one.
Okay, then the second meeting.
Okay, so that is the same thing that you all would be, the West Broad input.
Yes, that's where the
And the
community.
CLC committee was present as well. So members of the CLC were at that meeting.
Yes, I just wanted to be sure I wasn't thinking about them separately, like the two different the West Broad areas.
But this report comes out of the COC, if I'm correct.
You're talking about the SPOS?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I would still, I'd like to, if it's okay with the other members of the board, I would like to be able to take Dr. Maddox's position on that committee.
Yeah, I think we all like sort of volunteer or,
Yeah, for the vacancy time,
Mhm.
where we have representation, we have not had that discussion yet, so it's good. It's what I'm going to we're good to finally get the names of the people that are going to take those. So we have representing the board to the community members.
yeah, because I think Ms. Palmer also may have, and maybe even Dr. Thomas sent out something asking if we have like a finalized list. So that's something that over the next week or so, I think we can do it by email or what have you.
So, is it, so in this part of the meeting, so we can't vote or nominate in this part of the meeting for this particular position or not? I don't know how we vote according to email.
Well, because this is like an informational item,
Okay.
maybe like during the presidential report, but I don't think we have to like necessarily vote for who's going to represent individuals on the committees. I think we signed up last year, I thought, for those. And
Okay.
so that, I don't see any,
Okay.
I don't think there will be any issues with you being on the committee. And during the president's report, we can revisit that if we have people that know. But if not, whatever else needs to be filled, we can decide that over email or one-on-one conversation or what have you.
Okay, so that would be good, because I think several people, well, two people I talked to were interested in how we want to go ahead and fill those names. By simply acclamation or saying, I'm going to do it. We can just get that message out, we were waiting for that meeting to discuss this happening.
I discussed having a meeting.
We said we would take care of this at the same time. And I guess that's when that committee.
Okay. Yeah, I think we can, talk about it informally. I think that would be
The
fun.
statement would be really excellent.
Okay, yeah, so when I get to the president's report, we can like clarify how we go about doing it. And then if we, like I said, if we have some determinations right now, we can go ahead and solidify those. And any remaining, because there are other remaining areas I think that still need to be filled. I think Ms. Palmer probably has a more updated list of that. Mhm. Okay. The Athens Community Career Academy report.
No questions, I read it a couple of days ago, and I think I made a few questions.
You email your questions, you had questions about the report, Ms. Davis?
Can you tell us right now where we stand with Lawrence taking his new position? Where are we in terms of
Linda, can you speak up?
Yes, so my question would be on the Career Academy report, where do we stand now in terms of filling Lawrence's position? He's assumed his new role, right? So can we just maybe let everybody know where we are?
He has assumed his new role, they have received applicants, but the Career Academy Board is doing that initial process of vetting those applicants. Screening will take place on the 12th of February for applications that have come. And again, there's something, again, on the 20th of February, so February 12th and 20th will be when they screen the applications.
I feel like it's been a lot going on for like different meetings with Career Academy, but I think there was an input session for Career Academy leaders, or am I getting that confused as well, like with parents or
I
students?
received that as a parent and there was a student. They did allow for opportunities for parents and students to come in and share information as well. And I think that's information that they'll be used to create the criteria along with other criteria that they have to assess those applications and determine who to move for interviews.
Wonderful. Any other questions or comments? Ms. Davis, if you find your question or remember what it was, maybe shoot it back out to the board or Dr. Thomas. Parent Advisory Board, I know there wasn't attached a report, but we did get an email with, I think an update from the Parent Advisory Chair. Okay, maybe.
I know they were supposed to meet on February 3rd and I told them I was not able to meet on the 3rd because we had the chamber dinner on Monday night. So I did not receive a report back from them. Generally, I do, but we recognize our teacher of the year. And I spoke to the board and told them I would not be able to attend this week. So I don't know if they still met, but I haven't received any minutes.
Okay, and you know, with that being my error, I received something that I assumed other people were on it. It was like it's a blind copy. I have it. Do you have it too? Okay. From the president that just gave some minutes from December and January, and you know, acknowledging it was a delay. And acknowledging, thanking you for attending the meetings and for the dialogue that you've been having with them. So
I'm not sure if they met this week or they put that.
okay.
I apologize, I didn't see that, and I counted the schools that were represented there. I do have some questions about that, discuss it some more. About the representation on the parent advisory board, it was like 11 of our schools were present.
Yeah, and I don't know if, I guess we could all go back and like look to see if that is if that's been like something that's been consistent. I know years and years ago, when I was on parent advisory board, like the members rotated in and out. I think they had like maybe 2-year terms. And so they typically try to have 2 people, but even then there was some difficulties getting representation at school. So maybe that's something that Ms. Davis, you could inquire about.
I don't know, again, I thought we had a presentation where one of their efforts was to link back into schools, PTAs, PTOs, and again, we still only have a portion of our schools represented in that organization. And yet, we are looking to build a stronger relationship with them in terms of input into decisions in the district. And so, again, we need to look at everything across that particular organization.
We also discussed their solicitation process and talked about working with our LSUTs and Mr. Harris to do do some publicity during the same time as LSGT voting, I suggested to them maybe that we create a flyer or a matrix that just has different ways that families can become engaged and an explanation of what each of those organizations and entities are. So if we had a chart that explained what the school governance teams, explain CAB, explain PTO, and that these are things that they do, these are ways you can become involved in the process. How many representatives would you like to have, what the term limits are. I think there is some confusion for people on what each group entails, and so I did recommend that to Mr. Boyd, that this board work with Mr. Harris and Mr. Roy to look at creating a simple document for parents to just show how they can become more involved in their children's schools. That's something that we're working on as well, and I actually spoke about that to this week or last week.
Thank you. Okay. Moving forward, the Finance Committee report. Oh, that's right.
At that meeting, we had a finance committee meeting, and I do remember, Carol, you're the vice president, right? It's you. We're glad that, yeah. So we did take care of that election process in our last meeting.
No, so we did, we had a finance committee meeting, we went over the financials that we'll talk about with the full board during the financial report part of the meeting, and then we tentatively set our next finance meeting for February 26th at 4:30. So as not to run into, that's a Wednesday, and generally we will have them on Thursdays, but we didn't want to run into I think there's a policy committee meeting that day, and then there's a work session that day as well. And so we tentatively set it for Wednesday, February 26th at 4:30.
Okay, thanks. Government Relations Committee?
Yes, the big event that the committee's been working on has been the joint county commission and school board meeting on February 10th at Hillsborough Middle School, beginning at 5:30. If it's possible, Dr. Hines, if we can post the agenda on this, because I think that's a public, so we can, maybe it is on there under the meeting. Is it there already?
It's already.
Okay, thank you. So anyway, that's our second meeting, and really hopeful that last time we met, we had almost all the school board, we had all the commission and almost all the school board. Hopefully, we can continue to have such a good turnout. Our next meeting, the Government Relations Committee, is February 18th at 4:30, and we really welcome people to come in. In terms of the state legislature, it's just started, but one piece of legislation that has already passed the Senate, which will impact this district, is on dual enrollment. And they're actually putting, let me put it this way, the Senate has passed a bill that proposed cutting, or limiting the maximum number of hours that a student can earn in dual enrollment to 30. And they're saying this is a cost-saving measure. So this is something that, for those of us who are following this state legislature, and this is something that we certainly need to be more aware of, and if we feel differently about it, then I think we need to communicate to our legislators and let them know.
Okay, thank you. Got a question? Ms. Davis?
I think as I read the proposal, it left the 10th, 11th, and 12th graders intact. remove the ninth graders from that consideration.
Well, but what it did was it capped the number you can earn.
Cap the number of students, yeah.
No, the cap-
Number of courses, so my question really wasn't for us, but have we looked at that in terms of the impact on our career academy? And also, are we still running dual enrollment programs to high schools? Or is everything through the career academy? Okay, I know it's perfect.
If you're academy or other higher ed institutions, they can do it in the University of Georgia, the University of North Georgia. They can take courses in high school.
I know that Agnes texted out a memo about it too, so I guess we're looking at that in terms of next year's career path, courses that we're going to be offering, so that's why I triggered.
All of this is
That's what I did,
so
send that email, because I knew we had to track it back through that to get the career path. I still have that email.
And let me just say about that issue, I'm really conflicted, because on the one hand, the point that some legislators are making is that it's been a very successful program, and why would you cut it at all? And, you know, they talk about kids who have earned 40, 50 college credit hours prior to graduation. On the other hand, you know, the other argument has been that there are some kids who perhaps, if the funding, my understanding of funding is they're going to cap the funding because of the budget. And so they're saying if they cap the funding, then there would be more, I mean, there would be less for more students versus more for more students. So I feel like we really don't know as a state who is actually involved in this dual enrollment, you know, in terms of what category of student is most benefited from.
I really care about that state, but I'm real close to home, and I don't know what it's really going to do to our career academy.
Right, and I think along the same lines, though, I think in terms of if I don't think we've ever seen, at least I don't remember seeing a breakdown in terms of our dual enrollment students and where they're enrolled and the numbers of courses that they're graduating with in dual enrollment. And maybe we have seen it, but you know, we talk about North Georgia, we talk about UGA, we talk about Athens Tech, and I'm not sure how our students are spread out among those different dual enrollment programs.
So that was, again, my question was back to that, the ninth grade, I don't think our courses counted toward college, period. I think that was when we had ninth grade, we didn't start learning college. Graduation course credit even until 10th grade. If I recall, that's kind of a long time ago, but that's my question, you know, what does this change do with us?
Yeah, we will work on that for those instances.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, perhaps that, you know, that may be something we discuss in a work session, or maybe good to host with,
Should be the fuel that drives our conversation with our legislators.
and so maybe, you know, maybe the government relations committee is a good place for that.
Yeah, here's the rub, we have to move quickly. So so when we get the data, if it's something that we need to perhaps do, I mean, maybe we would have to have Dr. Thomas respond to the legislature or something, our legislators, depending on what we find out.
Moving forward to policy committee, and I know that there are several policies in our area 11 that we'll eventually get to. So if you could give us a brief overview.
Yeah, we have met as a policy committee. In fact, we met twice, and we're moving fairly quickly because we have to, because there are certain policies that have to be in place prior to our advisement with our students and our graduation requirements and that type of thing. So when Dr. Myers goes over with a list of policies that are going out for 4-week comment, then that will become obvious why these are so important for us to move forward on.
Thank you. Property committee? Yes, sir.
The work committee, did have a meeting last week. We also elected officers of Mr. Ward is still the chair of the property committee. I am the vice chair of the property committee. We had discussions about some potential priority. Those aren't ready for consumption.
Thank you. Okay. Moving forward with board and community reports, the Evans Area Community Foundation.
So there was a meeting last week, and I also would like to, I know some of these don't have representation, and some people want to move representation, and this is one that, their meetings are at 8:30 in the morning right now on days that I teach at 9:30, so it's been difficult for me to get to them. So I wasn't able to go to this last one, and if there's somebody else who would, and they only meet quarterly, so I feel bad. It's a lot. So maybe as we talk about these committees, we can figure that out.
Okay, thanks. The Community Oversight Committee, I know there's been transition. Do we have any reports or updates from it yet?
Yeah, I guess I was thinking Dr. Lawyer would make that.
Awesome.
So I'm kind of drawing a blank.
Okay, that's okay. Okay, and then Envision Athens.
The IOC meeting is tomorrow morning, I believe. Or maybe it's this morning. Okay, I had a coordinate today, so I guess this morning. The IOC meeting was this morning to, again, just do the monthly meetings. Those meetings typically happen 8:30 on Thursday mornings. And they typically go for about an hour. The agenda is sent out ahead of time. And that's just our oversight committee for the Envision Athens initiative. The individual 14 initiatives still meet separately, and so we don't have to be a part of those. You choose that particular thing of interest that you want to participate in. So they are still waiting for the appointment of a person. And I personally don't mind staying on Envision Athens, but I don't have a problem also moving off of that so that someone else can have that opportunity to work with so many people from our community. It's truly a cross-section of the community, looking very carefully at priorities for the government. And so these are the people that bring pressure on the SPLOS decisions through the organizations that are represented there. So we want to have an influence there. That would be a good committee to be a part of. And you can still go to these organization meetings even if you're not the representative from the board because it's open to the public.
Thank you. There were a couple of things. I think I had a meeting with Erin, and she mentioned a few things that may be of interest just for the board. I just need to articulate it. At that point, I think I was assuming that you would continue to serve in that place, but it was more so just opportunities, for the board and Envision advocacy to collaborate or cross common interests. So I'll try to go back and find that information and share it. Another one was about an opportunity that's coming up. I honestly can't remember it. This one was about the dialogue, a training conversation that I think the Fanning Institute or Dr. Ross offers, that they had an extra seat. You may have said that to the board, but if anyone wanted to attend, but I'll try to get the details to share that with the board.
And if I'm going to continue, I don't mind continuing, but if somebody else wants to take that space, let me know so that we can make sure we make that transition. We have a budgetary concern there, which is why we definitely want to make sure that we have somebody in that seat. We actually have 3 seats doing that. Dr. Thomas is already a part of it, and in the past, we've also brought in, because of what we're happening here at the Clarke Academy,
aren't specifically part of the educator ethics portion. So other parts of the district are engaged, it's just board representation.
Yeah, I think while we're talking about it, that housing summit is February 25th, and I'm planning on attending. But I didn't know that Envision Athens is putting that on.
The chamber is putting,
Okay, but they're helping, I'm sure. With some,
came out of the housing initiatives for Envision.
yeah. So that's the 25th.
Yes.
Foundation for Excellence in Public Education. I think we solidified that person. So that's the one.
So we have,
That's one of the ones, along with the Athens Area Community Foundation. And I think it's one or two, it's a couple more. Okay. Georgia School Boards Association, that's actually one of the other ones. If someone would love to take that, that's great. Actually, it's only typically once a year. It's typically been combined with the Government Relations Committee. If not, I'll continue, but certainly if someone wants that opportunity to travel. My main primary responsibility has been to talk to the Government Relations Committee, figure out like what our positions are, and attend the meeting and cast a vote on behalf of Clarke County.
Yeah, we should be receiving notification fairly quickly because the conference in Savannah, in fact, it's always in Savannah, would be in June, and then end of April should be the policy committee that I've been selected by the state to be on.
so is this one again where we're gonna have a representative from the board? And again, it's a great spot for someone that's fairly new for to at least get into a relationship with our underwriters and also to see what GSBA offers. They keep pushing us to switch over from board docs back to their system that they use across the state. So those are probably the two things that I think will be a lot them this year. Assembly versus board docs.
And when I attended the conference, there were like just before the main areas in between sessions, there was a lot of information to be gathered. As far as like if you wanted to learn more information about those vendors, I guess.
But we also have that District 11 that's just carved out for those of us that are in District 11, which is that's where we have an opportunity to influence change.
Have you heard of any meetings with District 11, Linda? Because I have.
Mr. Payne retired.
Yeah, because there, we did run somebody for that district position, but I haven't heard anything from that person. Nor when I've gone to GSBA, I don't remember them talking about their dashboard versus. I mean, I don't know how we collect that information. Have you been to a workshop where they talked about their
I've been once. We had it here in Athens, and we hosted the District 11 dinner, and it was like a dinner and meeting, and we talked about priorities and things that,
Is that where they talk about the dashboard, in particular the GSBA versus board docs?
No, not that necessarily. They talked about legislative things that were
Right.
affecting the district and what was happening in each of the districts in the school systems in our district footprint.
Right.
So that's what that meeting was about. That's a networking opportunity as well.
How can I find out more information about board docs versus, I didn't even know they had their own agenda setting.
Well, when we have our meeting with them, when they do their training session, they give you that litany of things that they offer boards to,
Okay.
one, organize themselves better prepare themselves, and to have access to information is going to be helpful to us. So I think we'll hear that from Julie and Sam when they come to our training session.
And that means, because I feel like y'all just transitioned over to Board Docs. Am I?
We just transitioned to Board Docs, what, maybe 2 years ago? 3 years ago?
So that's certainly something that spills over into, I mean, I see the information, but it is.
I get a lot of emails from them saying, Assembly does this, and that's the Assembly board, and I'm like, yeah, I think that's what it is.
Well, it certainly sounds like it's something that would be helpful information, but also a conversation with Dr. Thomas and the district regarding feasibility and things like that.
It's so low on our radar. Very low.
Okay. Moving forward for the financial report, the December financial report.
Now that you're looking at this. Good evening. As Ms. Davis and Dr. Clarke mentioned, the December Finance Committee on January 23rd, so you got 14 days to do the Finance Committee. Thank you. Is that better? All right, we're gonna do this. Okay. My wife says it loud, so I can't. It's not mine. Total cash balance will be December 31st, 75.7 million. Roughly about 90% of that is short investments, the other 10 million or so is just kept in our bank account, which also worked in, that's the kind of offsetting the analysis charges. So that's really the balance sheet part. Lisa, if you could scroll down page 2 of that. You'll see total year-to-date revenues, second column, middle, actually, 108, 370, 608 of revenue. Keep in mind, we received about 94.5% of the property tax revenue. At the end of January, we're about 97% due over January financial year. Expenditure, down at the bottom, 62.5 million. That number is continuing to catch up with our revenue number we mentioned in the last board meeting. We received, as y'all know, our revenue received the bulk of property taxes October, November, December. So now our expenditures are starting to catch back up with some of the revenues, which is why the cash balance is also continuing to decline. No worries there, everything is good. Thank you, Lisa. This document has a lot on it, so we're going to focus on the last 3 columns. Down at the bottom, you'll see, or middle of the page, total cash receipts. Lisa, again, this document, but given the red right there for the revenues, you can see we're projecting to be $1,969,207 ahead of what was budgeted. Down at the bottom in the black, which is a good number for expenditure, it means we're projected to be under budget, a little over $1.8 billion. So again, those add up to $3.8 million. The budgeted use of fund balance was a little over $700,000. So if you get that third column, very bottom, about 3.1 million is what we're projecting with the increase in fund balance at this point now. Keeping in mind, we still got 6 months to go, so that number can fluctuate. Don't fixate on that number just yet. It will change. Again, the next 6 months are all projected based on prior year history. Now we get to the pictures. All these are actually good pictures. Cash position higher than at the same time last year. Fund balance position, of course, beats off the cash balance, so there's also higher. Lisa, if we can scroll down just a little bit to the income percent collected. 65.9 at this point in time this year compared to 64.8 last year. Expenses paid a little bit lower than last year, although right on track though, 38.3 compared to 38.4%. Lisa, if you can get out on page 2. Budget versus actual revenue, a little bit ahead of what we budgeted for the month of December. Expenditure a little bit less than what we budgeted. Again, good trends there. Final number is the number I mentioned, where we're at about 3.1 million. We did do some, as I mentioned, that number fluctuated. We did some adjustments with interest income. I think rates, the budget was number a little bit higher, and it kind of started coming back down. So we adjusted that about a couple $100,000. So we were still anticipating interest income around $900,000. The others is more fluctuations in the That's the financials for December. I'll be happy to answer your question.
Okay, so can you give me a wild guess as to how we're gonna end this fiscal year in that fund balance?
Ms. Davis, that's a loaded question.
I'm always asking.
That's a fair question. We're at 3.1 right now. I think we're tracking fine. I fully anticipate we'll be between 2 and 3. Yeah, it's just harder right now. It's looking at 6 months. So, of course, we've got January mostly closed out, so we'll have a little bit of done 5 months. It's just trying to predict. And you don't know what's going to pop up.
We're not, I think it's gonna affect the fund balance or something we didn't put in the budget.
Yes, ma'am. That's correct.
Just so we're clear about it.
And keep it in mind, we project our property tax revenues are 1.9 million, most of the property tax. But I will tell you that Mr. Hamel was conservative. You will find out we'll be conservative on the property tax side as well.
Right. Is the county saying that we're gonna see an increase?
I will let you, I have a meeting with the tax assessor next Tuesday to kind of get that preliminary, actually introduce myself and then try to get some preliminary information. I don't think we're doing it. It's actually going to, guys with the tax commissioner, the tax assessor, and the deputy tax commissioner. Yes, sir. Mr. Davis.
Did the finance committee talk about the resolution that the county has put into the state legislature?
We have not yet. What I want to do Tuesday after I meet with the tax assessor will be a little bit more information from them. See how much research they've done on it, so we can kind of start projecting what the ballpark impact of the school district would be. That's one reason why I set that meeting up as well, just to kind of get it. So at our next finance committee meeting, that will definitely be a topic of discussion.
Yeah, is that, I mean, Linda, that would be very, I think it would be a great,
It's on the agenda, but we need information before we have a
Okay.
conversation.
just so that people are, if they're not aware of it in the audience, this is a resolution coming out of the county to get, to have the state legislature give us the permission to, tell me if I'm wrong, but I mean, you read the resolution too, I know, but
Yes, sir.
to freeze the taxes for folks who are 150% or below the poverty rate.
Yes, sir.
So it's to keep low-income folks in their houses, at least not be driven out by increased property taxes.
Yes, sir. Yeah, as long as their income stays below that level, we're not correct. And that's where I feel like the county's probably done some research. I just need to ask that question. And if they haven't, figure out how we can keep up with that number and have that conversation with them.
And so the impetus, as Mayor Gertz explained it to me, is to not have my taxes impacted by the mansion that goes up next door to me. Again, because we have that information, so that we don't have to raise taxes on everybody in the neighborhood just because somebody else moved in with more wealth. So it's to protect generational wealth, is the intent of that act.
And they're gonna, you may have mentioned this, but they're gonna be looking to the school board to jointly or collaborate, or at least
Well,
leading those efforts.
They've already voted to do this, and so, they're pushing it through with delegation. It would be our role to say, well, we want the same thing.
My understanding,
When you say we want the same thing, we support the resolution? Oh, is that?
Their resolution only speaks to the county taxes. It doesn't speak to schools, the school system taxes.
We're deriving from the county taxes.
But
it's to, what Mr. Day, there's a county property tax as well as school property tax. So I think their resolution will address what the county collects in property tax and not what the school board collects.
All right, so then my understanding is that we are a percentage of what the county property taxes are. We don't find, if the county taxes go up, our taxes go up too.
That's correct. Yeah, the valuation's done the same on the property. It's just that their millage rate is completely completely separate from our military. Right?
And just for clarification, I mean, they can, I mean, if we so vote, we can vote to lower our millage rate, and the county can keep theirs as the same. I mean, I'm just saying that.
We're two separate entities,
Right,
I understand
right.
that, yes.
Right. So I think their resolution, and I would be proposed to do this, to have an exemption on their side, but you can't have a separate resolution on the county side. I know it's before that, I've seen that before in other districts. Not on the same issue, but similar, like where one county raised the homestead exemption to a different level than the school board.
In fact, my understanding is that we really already have that, that the school, that folks who are over the age of 65 can freeze their taxes to a certain degree, whereas the county doesn't have that.
Right, yeah, that's what I'd say to that district. It was-
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
kind
asked
of
that
awesome.
specifically for an employee of the school district a couple of years ago, and the answer was no. But, okay, so something's changed, I'm not aware of that.
Well, I purposely haven't taken advantage of it, but I have neighbors that have.
Tell me what's happening in your neighborhood that I don't know about.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not pushing it. I'm not pushing it because I think education benefits. I mean, somebody's got to take care of me when I really get old.
Well, and we can continue, maybe there'll be some additional questions that we have.
And I'll get it, but I had that meeting Tuesday, that was very helpful. I'll ask some of those questions in that meeting as well. So I can get a feel.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving forward is the president report, board president report. I had a few issues. I'll start with the shorter ones. First, there is just a reminder of our meeting, call meeting, for it'll be to go into executive session. That's tomorrow at 3. Also a reminder of our training with the Georgia School Board Association for the end of this month. And I'm pretty sure I've sent out reminders with those specific dates. I just don't know if it's been added officially to the calendar. And then also I just wanted to share, I know Dr. Thomas and Ms. Palmer have been in touch, but Dr. Maddox and I will sort of resume our meetings, monthly meetings, just to try to get a little bit more structure. And so that's something that we had last year previously, just trying to get a better handle and get prepared for the work sessions. And so we'll be doing that. And I would imagine there may be some other, actions or initiatives, because I do want to encourage people to continue to have any individual meetings, particularly before, if there are questions about things that are going to be on the work session agenda, or on the final agenda as well. With the committees, I do want to clarify, one of the things that Ms. Davis said clarifies that as we decide what's remaining, that is simply a decision that we can make. Ms. Palmer, can you remind us of the committees that still needed a person or people? Okay, and so the Athens Area Foundation normally has, is that one person? Yes, it is. Okay, and so Dr. Maddox is going to take that. Dr. Knox Reed?
So I understand the Foundation for Excellence needs somebody based on Dr. Maddox's email. I can do that. I had to check the schedule.
Okay, so Ms. Palmer, that is Dr. Knox for the Foundation for Excellence, and then Dr. Maddox for the Athens Area Foundation. And then it looks like we need someone for did you say the early Head Start policy? Okay, and envision, Ms. Davis, you mentioned that you're open to doing it again. What's your preference?
I would keep Envision Athens.
Okay, so Ms. Davis will keep Envision Athens, and Dr. Dykeman will do the early Head Start policy.
We still have a board member that we have, that has not received an assignment. Honestly, as a new board member in 2012, it was very helpful to start with the early Head Start organization because they are very meticulously organized. They adhere to all of their policies and the government policies, and it's one of the most, I think, one of the best run programs that we have. And so it would be a great place for a new board member to just start to get familiar with the protocols and to understand Robert's Rules of Order and to understand, how issues are brought to the board, and the board as a governing body as opposed to, just elected people or whatever. I think it's an awesome place for that. That's it.
And I know that with some of the other committees, I think we left the opportunity open for some of the other committees for a new person, but I would imagine if Mr. Stevens wants to be the person or attend with the person, that we would all be,
More than you get with one seat, but still, they also have lunch, so.
I mean, that's fine, if that's something that he can do, I would be fine with giving that to him. The other thing I wondered is, I know that the Parent Advisory Board would like some sort of board representation. I don't know if we want to do a board representative, or rotate it, but I know that's something they had asked us about.
I would vote in favor of us rotating that so that the entire board can have exposure to the people that are, supposedly close to our schools and bringing the officials forward. I would like to see that as a rotation.
What I'd like to do is have Dr. Thomas talk first and make sure that that's what we want. Oh, did they? Okay. But just in terms of
We get to decide our participation. Right?
Well, we can verify that if that's something that they, or, once we confirm it, then we can.
Yeah, they had sent us something in an email that said, CCSD, BOE members and the superintendent are ex officio members of our board. Historically, at least one board member would attend each meeting. And then it said, we'll leave it up to you how best to accomplish this. It could be board members rotate through the academic year, or have one or two board members take the lead in meeting with us. It looked like they were open to find out.
So we can rotate that if someone would be open to, communicate, or I don't know if that needs to be me, but just trying to get some type of calendar of their meetings and things like that. We can figure out who will go. Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
And that also was, just for the sake of history, when you set the agenda when you guys have your agenda setting meeting, that's when you assign the board member and just say it's your turn to go. And that takes all of this coordinating out.
Yeah. Okay, that's helpful. I think with most of us and with our schedules, if we can know as far in advance, when we'll go, that may be helpful, but either.
Publish it for the year, and then if you couldn't make it, you just trade it with something.
I see. Okay.
Let me just say about the policy committee, because I've really enjoyed going, but I think it's good to have new people go. But I'm sure that Karen has room for 2 board members. I mean, we're non-voting board members, so I encourage Karen to go and offer it to. There's a meeting coming up, and that's why I'm suggesting that if Kara's willing to do it, and then tell our new board member, and he can also attend.
Then ask for yes.
You can recommend that. Okay. And COC is Dr. Yeager and Mr. Davis. And there was the Georgia School Board Association. Does anyone have a preference to go as a rep? Okay.
No, I mean, I'm really recommending, that's one thing I would recommend continuity, because it's, if we're going to, what? No, Keisha, she did last year.
Yeah, it's a once
No, how was she always a member?
Oh, as a representative?
No, this is their convention, their yearly convention that takes place in June. And if you, and just to refresh your memory, remember we had.
Just a one vote thing, right?
Yes, and we sent, Ovita would do that, and then Vern, because he was part of the leadership, he would go as well. And for the first time, when you first and I got on the board, it was confusing because Vern filled both spots. And then Ovita did some research and found out we actually have two positions there because Vern, because he was head of District 11, and then we needed to have someone from the board go to represent the school board. So so anyway, that's the
We
history
have
of it.
one voting member to go,
Right.
and
And
that's the GSBA position that we're filling, but anybody can go to GSBA.
Yes, anybody can go, but I'm saying for the board, I think this is an advantage where you have someone who has been doing it, before, can be helpful to maximize their participation.
So if anyone wants to go, just let me know, and I'm happy to trade off or step away. If not, I'm happy to attend as well. Okay, the last thing I have on the President's report is going to read a statement from Mr. Stevens. It's an abbreviated statement, and I'm going to read it as it's written and encourage any questions to be asked directly to Mr. Stevens, but in his absence, he has sent this to the board. And it reads, I apologize for being unable to attend tonight due to continuing to battle through sickness and stress. I thank you to everyone that has sent in your blessings and prayers over the past few days since my appointment and Vulture Press as of late. I am a proud former student of CCSD and take responsibility for it being presented unclearly that although I attended 4th Street Elementary, BHL Middle, Coyle Middle, and Cedar Shoals High School, that I did not graduate from Cedar Shoals. But the CCSD class of 2014 identifies who I came up with as a native in Athens. Despite the attempts to silence my message, I have been hard at work over the past couple of weeks for District 2, planning with community leaders and faculty to grow involvement from young people and parents. We have ignored the number of young minority men and women from my generation that have been failed by the CCSD. The school to prison and grade pipeline is prevalent by examining just how many former minority students are in prison and passed on today. We have forgotten the hurting families. I will continue to fight strong for what I believe in. That being said, I have made mistakes in messaging and strategy as a young person coming into politics without mentors. As my late grandmother taught me, I have surrounded myself with community elders that I'm so happy to have help and guide me along. I look forward to releasing a full and in-depth statement, fully defending my side of issues that do not relate to CCSD. Thank you so much, and God bless. that concludes my report. We'll transition to the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Dr. Mayor. First, Ms. Carla Bland did allude to one of the items that I wanted to address, but I still feel a sense of obligation to acknowledge the passing of our longtime principal, Mr. Dwight Manley. And he worked with Clarke County School District and gave tirelessly to our system until his retirement in 2017. And so I wanted our board and to acknowledge his work and to continue to work with our students really up until his passing at Fifth Wheels. He still worked with our students 2 days a week. So he was very committed to Clarke County Schools. So we want to just offer our condolences to his family on behalf of the Clarke County School District at this time. Second, I had that the Career Academy had their review. Last week was a week full of reviews for us. The review committee was very complimentary of our Career Academy. They provided some commendations as well as some recommendations. And we will be working with our board, some of which will need to go through committees to address the recommended items. We will do as much as we can prior to a new CEO being hired, recognizing that some things will take some time and aren't immediate fixes, and the review team will expect overnight changes or improvements. So we will begin working on those items. As you all know, I wanted to acknowledge publicly that Copy did visit our district. I received some email and questions about that. So Copy did visit our district last week. It was a 5-member team, and it was a very productive visit with school and district staff. We have not been given a timeline on their report. They promised to keep up again and kind of voice on any progress as that moves forward. So they have a strong hierarchy of vetting that reports go through to ensure that they're thorough and comprehensive and accurate before they release those to the schools. Next, we've had some conversation about 3DE and that program with Clarke Central. So at this time, Mr. Gaskins is just going to come up and briefly review for you where we are with 3DE, and then while he's up, he'll also talk briefly about our program and study, because both of those items are in your action items.
Thank you, Dr. Thomas. So our update regarding 3DE, Dr. Huff was able to meet with his LSGT as well as with his school staff. Dr. Huff gave really good feedback around the staff being eager to implement 3DE. However, they had pause around implementing it for the 2021 school year. We talked to 3DE, they agreed. They encouraged us to have an extended planning year with an implementation of 21-22. So they will spend the rest of this year doing extended planning. One of the schools that has a similar demographic, slightly similar demographic, is more diverse, is Parkview High School, which is in Gwinnett. Dr. Huff had an opportunity to visit Parkview High School. He actually went there on the day that they were presenting a case study. That is something that we did not experience when we went on our visits earlier this year. So they will work very closely with visiting Parkview so they can implement that program. Also, there is talk about moving to block scheduling. So we would depend on 3DE to match us with a high school that has a similar block schedule as the one that we implementing next year. So that's where we are with that. So you will notice on the MOU for tonight, the MOU is for an implementation of 21-22 and not 20-21. Also, the other item that we asked 3DE to include in the MOU is that for whatever reason, if the school decides after the extended planning that they are not ready to implement, we have a June 2020 date to rescind the MOU. You want to go to it? Yes, sir. Okay. And so program.
Can you repeat you said by June 2020, but so in a few months?
Yes, by the end of this year. The end of this school calendar year.
And then that planning year, what all does that entail?
So planning includes the recruitment of students. So Clarke Central needs to decide what list the profile of the students that they're trying to recruit. So any student that's eligible for the program, but an recruitment strategy, they need to be very clear on which students we're trying to recruit for the program, so there's some success around that. The other is school visits to other 3D sites, so they can learn about scheduling, they can learn about case studies. And then there is some administrator and teacher training. So in May and June, Dr. Huff and his staff got an opportunity to shadow some schools as they are being trained in the case study model, so they can see what that training will look like.
Yeah, I do have some questions from that. And I don't know if it's better to do it now or do it when we when it's up on the agenda for a vote.
Yeah, you can go ahead and ask.
Yeah, I know that there's still, because I hear from them, I know there's still doubting Thomases, and we're not going to be able to address all of that, but I am, you know, and this can be a budgetary item because it may cost us, but I would really be willing as a board member to support extra funds to involve more teachers in the process of sitting down. Because, you know, if it takes teachers sitting down with a teacher, you know, like at programs that have been successful, because a lot of times I know that the young lady that came and spoke to us, she also spoke at Clarke Central. And I think she's a wealth of information, but it's different from someone who's actually taught the program and can say, well, this is what I did with year one, this is what I did with year 2, and I teach English, or I teach social studies, and I teach science. And so I think because this is, and I guess I'm not really asking a question, but anyway, because this is such a radical proposal, and I'm all for it. Like I told you before, you know, both privately and publicly, I'm all for it. But this is a real radical shift in one of our schools. I would just like all the staff members to feel very comfortable with it and be able to talk with at least the majority, talk with people who are already doing the same thing they're doing, instead of just kind of a sales pitch. So I'm okay.
So I think that is possible in 2 ways. So with this extended planning, we can have more teachers either go to visit some 3D schools. I think Parkview is, of course, the closest school that we can visit, but we can also ask 3D, and I think they would be open if we can bring teachers here. On the visits to the 3D schools, they have a teacher panel and a student panel. The student panel is very, very impressive. But we could ask if 3D could bring a teacher panel and a student panel to present for our teachers at Clarke Central. So instead of trying to transport, 30 or more teachers from a high school, we could probably bring 15 or more students and teachers to Clarke Central. I think they would be able to.
Say that again.
So we would bring the teachers and students from Parkview or another 3D school to Clarke Central to do a panel so they can learn more, to your point around this is how I teach English, and students having their own kind of testimony around their success or some barriers in the program for them in the early stages of this implementation.
Okay, thank you. But you are planning more visits from teachers to not just, I know you've got one planned now, I believe, but there will be more even after this one.
Right, so part of the extended planning is that Dr. Huff would meet with Ms. Rogers and other individuals from 3DE, and then they would create an extended planning project or an extended planning plan, and that would be a part of that. So I'm leaving that to the school. I don't want to, direct their needs, but Dr. Huff and I are in contact about that.
Well, I appreciate that it will be open to more teachers. I have heard from some teachers, and that was a major concern. They felt like only a handful were chosen. I don't know how the process took place, but I think, to allow anyone who's interested at least to see and understand what it is, I think that would be very helpful.
As we spoke to Dr. Huff, because it starts 1 year at a time, prioritizing that 9th ninth grade academy and making sure that those ninth grade teachers are comfortable and included, but of course having teachers that teach 10th, 11th, and 12th grade courses, because we would add a grade level every year.
I have a question about the timeline. So it's on our agenda to vote tonight for the MOA. And then in that, I see that there's an addendum that says that if we decide not to proceed with it, that'll be made by June 15th. Will this come back to us prior to June 15th? Will we get feedback from the schools and?
So I'm answering two questions at once. So that is a request, then yes, we can do that. It would be for information. We would update you on what has happened. And then I would consult with Dr. Thomas around if we need to remove it based on feedback from the school.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful, and that way because that way we'll know if it's something that we need to not move forward with.
And then I would defer, I would be here to answer any questions, but I would defer that conversation to Dr. Huff. I would want Dr. Huff to be able to speak for
That would be great.
the experience of the teachers themselves.
Yeah, and I think that would be really helpful. I think that basically what everybody else was saying, but if teachers want it and Dr. Huff wants it and this is something that they want for their school, then this is something that I want them to have, but I want to be sure that we know. And I do appreciate this extended time period to gather that kind of information and let them get more information so that they can decide whether they want this and whether this will work for them.
And how does this overlap, or does it at all impact the role of the counselor? Like, I know we've talked about like the teachers being selected. I would imagine, based on how students are selected and things like that, counselors, they play an, important role, particularly if we begin talking about like at-risk students and things like that.
So the counselor is fully engaged in that conversation. I met with Clarke before. I believe last Friday with the head counselor helped prepare me and the scheduler. The scheduler is a big part of this conversation too. And that was part of this extended planning time because they will want to talk to other counselors around what their role is, how they support those individuals. The scheduler is a big part of this conversation.
Thank you.
The other item is our program of study. So we are presenting to you per state policy program of study, and then we have a district policy, which is our high school program of study booklet. We are not presenting the booklet tonight. We're revising the booklet, so we want to make sure that we are being very thorough around the courses that we're offering, and we have not revised that booklet to include all of those things at some time, so we want to make sure that we have that right. When you look at the program of study that is presented to you tonight, there are just two major revisions. One revision is the course for English literature. So for multicultural literature, that is a new course that we have added that is replacing British literature. So British literature is a state-approved course. Multicultural literature is also a state-approved course. Based on feedback from both high schools, students are more interested in the multicultural literature course than the British thing. But you will find in the high school program of study booklet that if there are students that want to take British literature, they can request that for multicultural. So students can take both courses, but for our core, we're offering the multicultural literature. The other major revision will be for math courses. We are moving from integrated math to discrete math. So integrated math is basically having geometry, data analysis, and algebra integrated in all of the math courses. So students currently now take coordinated algebra, analytic geometry, and advanced algebra. And so in those courses, it's integrated with geometry, data, and algebra. We'll be moving to discrete, which is what most of our high schools in the state take as a course, and that is a traditional Algebra 1 course, a geometry course, and an Algebra 2 course. So based on some feedback from our math teachers as well as our associate principals of instruction, they recommended that we move to discrete. So again, in the high school program of study booklet, we are trying to create a grandfather track for those kids that are currently taking coordinate algebra analytic geometry advanced algebra, so we can finish out that pathway and then offer to our upcoming ninth graders and other students the Algebra 1 geometry and Algebra 2. And then the last difference is that the state requires 23 units for graduation. We require 24 units. So economics is a half credit as defined by the state, and U.S. government is also a half credit. We traditionally get full credits. So that's why it is 24 and not 23. And then in the high school booklet, we are working with Classic City. They require 23 units. They will also try to be aligned with our comprehensive high schools and offer 24, require 24.
I'm asking you for a little bit of history of Clarke County School District, even though you've been here fairly recently.
I've been here a year for
yeah, I know. So how do you know when we moved away from discrete? I mean, because that was an interesting, when did that happen?
So I've been doing my homework, and I believe it was 2011. Is that correct? It's been a while ago. So it's the pendulum, right? And it's about integration of mathematics was huge in 2011. We were learning from in elementary school as well. So I believe it was 2011. And so a lot of high schools, including my previous district, just recently moved back to discrete based on some of the student achievement scores that students were receiving.
Okay, so it was a statewide pendulum swing.
I have a couple of follow-up questions. You mentioned that with the booklet, that's still being worked on. So that with the booklet, that's done in time for the registration for this semester or changes in the fall?
Great question. So the program of study that's presented to you is what's most important for registration.
Okay.
That happens later this month or in March. Is it March? In March. So that's why we need to present this to February. I'm sorry. Present it in February. So that's why you have this tomorrow and today. The high school program of study booklet is really more of an information for parents and students around the different courses, the different offerings. It talks about the offerings of classes and courses at Cedar, at Clarke Central, ACCA, and Classic City. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it includes some already board policies. It talks about when you can drop and add a class. It talks about dual enrollment, things of that nature.
And I have a few more, but maybe I'll send them to Dr. Thomas. I guess the last one I'll ask, you mentioned like with the multicultural literature course now being added, like what is that process? Like, because I'm very happy to see that and would like to see, as a parent, I'm speaking as a parent, but then also it's really good to have a diversity of courses that are offered, particularly about multiculturalism, that reflect, lived experiences and things like that. I don't know the process. And so when you all added the multicultural course, is that a matter of like creating a course, getting it approved through the state, or?
So it was already a state approved course.
Okay.
And so the standards for British Lit and multicultural are the exact same, but it's the selection of the resources that teachers pick.
Okay.
So it's the books that they read, it's the text that they read, and we leave that up to the autonomy of the teacher and the associate principal of instruction.
Okay, but like if the district were to ever say, oh, you know, we need a course in this or that, does it work the same way as it does in colleges where you create a course, you get state approval, you go through this other process?
That is yes, what you're saying is what the process is.
Okay.
However, there are a lot of state courses that we have that we don't implement in our high schools. So sometimes people say, I want a course about A or Z. We could really look at the state offered courses and they're usually there. So as long as they're a state course, it's really easier to just adopt and implement a state curriculum that's already approved.
Thank you.
Well,
That concludes my report.
Moving forward, thank you, Dr. Thomas, and Dr. Gaskins, Mr. Gaskins. We'll move forward with policy, and we have several policies, but we're taking action to actually move them forward for public comment. And so we'll take them one by one. I'll open up the floor for, a motion, second, and then during the discussion, if Mr. Davis or Dr. Myers could give us a brief overview. Okay? So policy EBCC, I'll open the floor for a motion for that to be moved for public comment.
So moved.
Okay. And open the floor for discussion or clarification.
I'll provide just a brief overview of how we got here, what the policy committee actually was. So this is a new policy that we're recommending. Surveillance cameras are increasingly used for security in schools, but video recording has been used for a long time in classrooms for student teachers to provide evaluation and feedback and that type of thing. So this new policy clearly defines and delineates the difference between surveillance cameras and video recording. And it also aligns with a new state law that was passed by the Georgia General Assembly in 2016 called the Lansing-Dunston Act, which spelled out procedures for the use of cameras in special education classrooms to guard against the maltreatment of special ed students. Really was the origin of that act, but it didn't really provide much guidance for cameras in regular education classrooms. And so we're answering that question with some clarity in our policy. And this policy simply spells out how CCSD may use cameras throughout our properties, including surveillance, but also not limited to classrooms, and gives the superintendent oversight in making some decisions about any permanently mounted classroom cameras.
Any questions about policy EBCC? Okay, all in favor of this policy being moved out for public comment, if you would show by raising your hands. Okay, that motion carries. All right, policy IHE, is there a motion?
So moved.
Okay. Okay, open the floor for clarification and discussion.
And if I can speak to IHE, the policy that's up for revision, the regulation as well, and to rescind the exhibit, it'll just make more sense if I explain them to you together. So this was a recommendation from our chief academic officer to revise the policy and regs on promotion and retention. And I just want to make sure everyone knows, we've discussed this thoroughly in policy committee, that decisions about promotion and retention are really not made lightly and always involve constant communication with parents and input from teachers and parents. And we really got a good overview of how those decisions are made. And they're made using a variety of assessments and information, including developmental information about children. And so while there's a state DOE regulation on promotion and retention, our status as a charter district allows us the flexibility to waive some of that state board rule and to do things that make sense for us. And that's what these policies and regs are doing. So the change reflects a move away from using Lexile scores, which again, this is a pendulum swing. We swung towards using Lexile scores as the determinant, the main determinant to retention, to going back to the use of state assessments as part of the promotion retention criteria in grades 3, 5, and 8. And so while our focus remains on literacy, we found that the use of Lexile scores was problematic in promotion retention decisions. And so the revised policy and regs still allow for accelerated instruction, additional instruction to remediate ahead of retention decisions, and the ability of parents to appeal school level promotion and retention decisions. None of that was removed. Additionally, the old policy IHE repeated much of the language in the reg, so in the interest of clarity and condensing our policy manual, the policy committee recommended striking a lot of the language from the policy, making it a shorter policy, and including a lot of the pertinent details in the regulation.
Yeah, is it, how can we parliamentarily vote for all three at one time?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that, probably be maybe a friendly, I guess, amendment to the motion, because right now the motion that carried was just for that one policy. And it looks like there's at least one or a few that may go together.
I would like to make a friendly amendment that the, all three, both the regulation and the removal of the exhibit, be added to the motion.
Okay, and so that is 11.3 and 11.4.
Right.
And I should have mentioned the exhibit, we're rescinding it because it's the Lexile score chart. It still exists, we still use it, we just don't need it as an exhibit if the promotion retention decisions aren't based on Lexile.
So we have that, the friendly amendment, we have a, I don't know, do we need a second for a friendly amendment? Do we do? Okay, and then is there any further discussion about the three of these, or any questions specifically before we move them out?
I just have a quick question, or maybe it's thought of it, just ran in my head. When we are looking at going to the state assessment, and we have this activity going on in the state now about reducing the number of assessments, will we have to revisit this at that time, because I did not look at it to care?
That's mainly, we're going to talk about that next. It's about high school assessments, what they're reducing the high stakes testing around.
Right.
So, but if there were any state changes to the 3, 5, and 8, yes, that might impact our promotion and retention policy. That's not being discussed right now. Right?
So we're still doing these based on our charter and the fact that we have waivers. Is that right?
We may not waive the state assessments.
No, we can't, but that's the one we can't, right? Okay, all right.
Okay. Any other questions about these three? Okay, all in favor of IHE, IHER1, and IHE1 being moved for public comment, if you would show by raising your hand. Okay, that motion carries. I'm going to open the floor for a motion to move both IHAA, the final examinations for review, and IHAA for final examinations revised to public comment.
So moved.
Second, Dr. Maddox, Kate, the floor.
Okay. IHAA is one sentence policy and it contains no changes. It's only under review so that as we revise the reg, it's all aligned with similar dates. Now, regulation IHAA, Ms. Davis, this is the State Board of Education has recently made changes to their rule about final exams in an effort to reduce high stakes duplicate testing. And so this pertains in our district to students enrolled in advanced placement or AP courses. And the state says that students will be exempt from taking the EOC or end of course exam assessment when they're in an AP course that contains an AP exam for college credit. It's a little redundant to also take the EOC. And really those students are focusing all their energy and attention on, and we want them to be on the AP exam for college credit. So our revision, other courses still require an EOC, but this rewritten reg, IHAA, provides students who are passing one of the AP courses to not take, they're not permitted to take the EOC actually, not take a final exam as long as they are enrolled in an AP for college credit exam, which that will also incentivize our students to go ahead and take those AP exams. There's also a mechanism for students who wish to take a final exam, even though we're not offering one, that they would be allowed to do that because some students want to raise their grade point average in the class. We didn't want to eliminate that possibility. So it's giving some student flexibility and if they want to take a final exam, but it's not requiring it in the interest of reducing high stakes testing.
That wasn't clear when I was reading that state recommendation, so I'm really happy. I'm sorry I missed the policy committee meeting on this one. Thank you, I'll reread it.
Any other questions?
One more. Have we eliminated course for all AP students?
There are not end-of-course exams in all AP classes. So the state only has certain courses that require EOCs, and for these AP courses, the state has said you don't have to also take the EOC. Does that answer your question? There's not an
They take the
EOC.
AP exam and then exempt the EOC. Thank you.
That's correct.
Any other questions? Okay, all in favor of moving these two policies for public comment, you would show by raising your hands. Okay, that motion carries. With IHF and then the following, those following are regulations as well, right? Okay, and so I'll open the floor for a motion to move all four of those for public comment.
So moved.
Okay, policy IHF, graduation requirements. The only part that is revised is the very last section, section 11, which spells out the way by which each high school names a valedictorian and salutatorian annually. This process is based on the state DOE guidance. It's already explained in our high school program of studies. This was just some cleanup that the policy committee had never gotten to align what's in the program of studies and in our policy. And so this provides that alignment. It does offer some protection for students who have attended our high schools all the way through, to not have someone brand new to the district swoop in senior year and take a Valor Sal designation. And that's based on state guidance, and the policy committee agreed that was a good thing to have in our policy. Okay, so regulation IHFR is just for review. There's no changes. It's very short. It just says that we must have a program of study. Mr. Gaskins already spoke to that earlier. Regulation IHFR2, this is a revision to an existing regulation and it provides clarity and really a reminder to our schools and our students about a process that has been in place but underutilized, I would say, over time to allow native language course credit to a student who requests to qualify for credit in lieu of enrollment. And so there is a process that is now clearly explained for assessing language proficiency, and the ability to qualify for course credit is really spelled out. And so this process will allow for our bilingual, non-native English speakers to have more benefit in their schedules to take other courses. And also I think it really recognizes and acknowledges the incredible skill of true bilingualism and offers them credit through a rigorous process of basically testing out of that course. Good, we did too.
I have a question about that. You mentioned that if they're non-native English speakers, then they would be able to request this?
Well,
or could it be for anybody?
It could include any bilingual student as long as proficiency in
as long as they pass the.
As long as they pass the test, yes. I mean, there's a lot of, to your point, children who are raised bilingually with multiple languages, and they would also qualify.
Yeah, and I just wondered if, because especially with like the dual language program in Oglethorpe, so if they are proficient by the time they're in high school, then I feel like they would probably be able to pass that exam as well.
So as we talk about in policy, sometimes revising a policy kind of reminds all of us that this exists and allows for this to happen. So I hope that this is up for public comment, that the public and our students recognize the advantages and hopefully are able to utilize this policy. Okay, finally, regulation IHF 6. We really can't explain why this exists. It's language that's identical to policy IHF. It's very redundant. It only serves the purpose of making our policy manual very voluminous and unnecessary, and so we're recommending to rescind it.
Okay. Thank you for that overview. Any questions, any additional questions? Okay, all in favor of moving these four for public review, if you would show by raising your hand. Okay, all opposed?
No, that was four.
Oh, okay. Were you, was it for or opposed? For, okay. So that carries. Thank you, Dr. Myers. Moving forward to the February 2020 personnel list. I'm going to open the floor for
Dr. Garrett, I'd like to recommend February 2020 personnel list be accepted as presented.
Thank you. Is there a motion? Okay, second, okay. Any specific? Mr. Davis?
Dr. Thomas, I think I know where the position's going, but I'm not sure. We have a new position in the central office, the cabinet level administrative support. I just want to see where that person is being placed.
Is that the position that, one of the ones we mentioned a couple of months ago that Ms. Claire Suggs had already put in the budget is administrative support for LSGT, so there were most of Mr. Harris doing support for the budgeting, LSGT grants, voting, so all of the community engagement and strategic partnership work. But she started that interview process as the community engagement specialist before she left, and then decided to wait, so then we waited until someone was in that position.
Let me ask you, did you say she might be involved in grant writing as well?
No, the LSGT, the Innovation Fund grants.
Oh, that grant.
The funds from LSGT that the schools receive as a result of the charter.
Okay.
It's a very cumbersome process to keep up with those budgets for 22 schools. So that person, right now, Ms. Tiffany Williams has been doing that in addition to her regular position. So it will be nice to finally have someone that works quickly with our charter and community engagement position.
Okay, and is there, do we have criteria? And I know, we had a discussion the last time we passed the budget, in terms of those funds and those awards. I'm thinking of the grants. Do we have the criteria in place now in terms of when the schools apply that they follow a certain criteria in terms of
So can we do the personnel vote? I don't want to
okay.
blend those two. I'm happy to answer that question for you, but I don't want to, I know we have something on the floor and you don't want to muddy that.
You're right. I withdraw that question. Talk to you.
Happy to answer it.
Okay, all in favor of accepting the 2020 personnel list, if you would show by raising your hands. Okay, thank you. And
Dr. Gann, I would like to make a recommendation that the 2020 contract list as presented be accepted.
your motion. Okay, floor is open. Dr. Knox?
I just had a quick question. It's a short list, so is this the beginning of the rollout or?
Yes, actually, this is the end of the rollout.
End of the rollout. Fine.
Any other questions? Okay, all in favor of accepting the 2020 contract list? If you would show by raising your hands. Okay. All right, moving forward to our action items. We'll start with 13.1, and that is our January 9th meeting minutes. What was that?
We do 13, 1, 2, and 3 together as well, they're all meeting.
So to the, you can certainly make a motion.
I move that we approve all 3 together.
Second.
13, 1, 2, and 3.
Okay. This open, or were there any points of discussion, errors noted, changes, minor changes that needed to be made for your viewing of that information?
I just want to say, in the meeting minutes, where it talks about the District 2 appointment, there's just one spot where it says District 3 instead of District 2. In one of the sentences.
Which one was that, Dr. Duckman?
Yes. It is under the motion, the substitute motion, and then there's a sentence.
Thank you. Any additional minor changes? Okay. Seeing, is there none? All in favor of approving our meeting minutes, if you will show by raising your hand. Okay. All right, action to approve field trips.
So moved.
Okay, floor is open for discussion. Mr. Davis?
I just want to give Hillsman Middle School a lot of credit for taking the entire 7th grade class to Rock Eagle. Yeah, Rock Eagle. So they deserve a lot of credit for that.
Thank you. Other thoughts? Mr. Davis is going to be chaperoning, so yeah, he made a motion. Yeah.
Let me tell you, when I chaperone students, I slept at the door with a sleeping bag, so no one wants me.
Okay, all in favor to approve the field trips? Okay. Action to approve early head start expenditure request 13.5. Mr. Davis, a second by Ms. Davis. Okay, open the floor for any questions or discussion. Okay.
Now, Karen, I read every single word and I trust you.
All in favor, you would show by raising your hands. Okay. All right, the action to approve the MOA 3D partnership with Park Central with those recommended changes. That's 13.6. Floor is open. For motion, okay. Ms. Davis?
Yes,
All right.
I move that we approve the MOA as presented.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, open up the floor for any further discussion or questions.
So I will share that just today, I was contacted by 2 people saying that we are creating a school within a school, and that was their concern. So while that's a concern, we really need to further engage to understand why is it different from what we have now. And again, except this is something that we are intentionally bringing a program in place to implement to reach children that we have failed to reach in the past. And I invited them to actually engage with the principal over at Park Central and have a conversation with him about their concerns, because I think, again, it's a very worthwhile program, and I think we need to be intentional. And I think what I really like about this is it meets our SMART goal criteria, and that it is strategic, it is measurable, and we are actually implementing it with fidelity. And I definitely want us to go forward with this program to, again, reach the kids that I hear are walking in the halls every day. So, right, it's an important program, first step.
And yeah, thank you, Mr. Gaskins, for that updated report. Definitely look forward to hearing, just feedback from teachers as they visit, along with admin, as well as students as they get to interact and learn more. Mr. Davis.
Yeah, and I would, Dr. Thomas, I just was here thinking about that. And one of the things that, when we did have a program that attracted a lot of community attention, AVID, there was a mechanism for board members to get one-day training, we found out later, and that may have helped us. And in terms of explaining it to the community, because I supported AVID, but I didn't have the details to be able to, when the community approached me there was a lot of misconceptions out there. So what I'm wondering is that if this is something, because it is, like I said, when I went to the National School Board Association and heard their presentation, I was very impressed. But they did call it a school within the school. But I think it has, as you were saying, Lakeisha, it has some real advantages to what Linda was saying. But anyway, maybe if the school board had the opportunity to hop in a van and actually go see the program as well, and then perhaps we could, as a school board, sometime next year, I mean, there's no rush because there's a big rollout taking place, but maybe we as a school board could have an opportunity to speak to folks who may be concerned about it, have some type of public forum. So anyway, that's just a suggestion. I don't know if Linda likes it, but that's a suggestion.
I think it's, we've already asked this program to be presented to us as they come through their planning stages, and I trust this organization to implement this with fidelity as they have said they would, and so we've asked for periodic reports on that. I'm good with that, but, again, your suggestion is your suggestion. I'm not one way or the other than I don't want us to interfere with the implementation.
No, I don't think so either, but I do think in terms of our policy VAB, we are, one of our hats is we are salespeople. Our job is to sell the district. And so I think that the more that this little, what I've got left of the gray matter, knows by way of what we're doing in the district and what I've been told by leadership, whether on school level or district level, as well as different opportunities that they've exposed me to, I think it makes me more of an asset as a salesperson for the district. So that's my little philosophy.
Yeah, I mean, I actually support that idea. I think within parameters, being sure that we don't go over, because it is a bit tempting, I know, for those of us that have been in schools to sort of slide over that line, but I do like that idea of learning more information about the program by being able to witness it. I also am very happy, as I mentioned earlier, that you all provide us feedback, and Dr. Huff will be here. We'll get to these next 3 months will be sort of information gathering that will be shared with the board.
I don't know why I feel the way I feel about this, but I do trust, the fact that, and I appreciate that the governance team has now had an opportunity, as well as the principal, and so, definitely I believe they know what they need with their school, but I think I wouldn't go overboard, but I would feel more comfortable, and I do that because of the way I feel that Abbott was brought in. I would like to see this and for it to be truly successful and be utilized.
And would invite, if that is that, so to be very clear, that is not a directive, that is just like, he's just sharing our thoughts. It is not a directive, so if you think, you're just like, nope, that's fine, that's totally fine. And even if you think and decide to move forward, totally open, I'm speaking for myself here, to receive parameters like, give me the assignment, you come in here, you listen, that's it. So.
Down like a 5 pieces of paper
So anyway, or any other questions or thoughts about that? But thank you again for the work that you and Dr. Thomas have done to gather more information for us. Okay, all in favor of approving the MOA? You would show by raising of your hands. Okay. 13.7, action to approve the high school program of study. Open the floor for a motion. Ms. Davis and Dr. Maddox, open the floor for discussion, questions.
I'm excited about the changes.
Okay, all in favor, if you would show by raising your hands. Okay, thank you, that carries, and we have 13.8, right? The action to approve the sale and disposal of surplus inventory. Your motion. Ms. Davis, thank you. Mr. Davis? Floor is open for any questions or further discussion. Mr. Davis?
I don't know if we can answer this, but at one time we had a program where we rolled out these surplus computers to the community. I'm really not suggesting that anymore, but I just, are the computers listed on this, are they being scrapped or are they being bundled up in crates and shipped over to another country? Do we know?
I will get that answer for you. Mr. Fisher's is out
Okay.
today, and it came from his department, and I
Okay.
apologize that I'm not aware of this, but I will get an answer for you.
That's fine. I'm still going to support it.
I just want to know where it's going.
Is it different from the last time? Okay, just checking.
Because I've been at both ends. I have seen them crated up and wrapped up in plastic and shipped out, and I've also stood at a driveway in front of a school and passed out computers as parents drove in so and plus I've had classes where I got people to train parents on to use computers, so I've seen it all ways in this district, so I am curious what it is now.
We'll find out.
One more thing, I was a little embarrassed, I don't know if there's like a date of sale of these things, and like for the public that do, I would like to know the date if there is one.
Other questions? Okay, all in favor? You will show by raising your hands. Okay. And then our next to last item is resolution to appoint an open records officer. Open the floor for a motion.
So moved.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion or questions?
Yeah, I just wanted clarification about how does that change from what, because I think that Mike Pruitt's office has been doing this, or is this something that will simply be the conduit that goes to Mike, or how does that?
So under Meredith Match's taken that over since Dr. Thomas moved into her position, and so Meredith's really got that organized, and she's taken a lot of the workload off of us. But the purpose of this resolution actually is to have a central place that all the requests go to, because it's an appointed officer, and you display that comment on your website, and notify the media, and the 3-day clock doesn't start until it's directed to that person. It just keeps, from having confusion when we're going to different people.
It's replacing me. She's doing such a great job with it.
Is there any, I don't know, qualification or eligibility to be the open records officer?
Employee.
I would imagine. Orientation to detail. Other thoughts? Okay, all in favor? Okay, all right, our last item is adjournment. Is there a motion? Ms. Davis, Dr. Dykeman, any questions about adjournment? Okay, all in favor? All right, we are adjourned at 8:29.